battery is expected to begin operations in 2025. The project has received financial support from Business Finland's New Technology Energy Aid Program. Circular economy. Soapstone, a material with a long history in Finland, is primarily mined in the regions of North Karelia and Kainuu. These rocks have exceptional thermal conductivity. Besides its efficient heat conduction, soapstone is also remarkable for its ability to retain heat, surpassing the performance of many other rocks. This stored energy can then be released to provide reliable and sustainable heat for homes and businesses. Joint research by the two companies has confirmed the suitability of crushed soapstone for use in Sanlampo's sand battery. Moreover, this plant will operate entirely on electricity, eliminating the need for fuel transportation and contributing to a cleaner energy future. The sand battery will significantly reduce the combustion-based energy used in our district heating network, and the collaboration with Tuulikivi has added a valuable circular economy aspect to this project, said Mikko Pajunen, Sanlampo CEO, in the press release. Sanlampo Company is a district heating provider for Sa, Pukkila, Pornainen, Tequila, Pata Village Center, and Lapagia. This innovative approach reduces waste and promotes a circular economy. Instead of being discarded as waste, soapstone is being given a new life as a valuable component in the sand battery. This reduces the need for extracting and processing new materials. The principles of the circular economy challenge the mining industry to seek new solutions. For instance, we've started using recycled ceramics in some of our new fireplaces. This innovative sand battery cooperation is one example of the fresh thinking we need more of, said Heikki Vaaranen, CEO of Tuulikivi. Recommended articles. Newsletter.
Hey Bill, can you hear me now?
Stay up to date on engineering, tech, space, and science news with the Blueprint.
I'm just waiting for Bill to get back here. He was having a problem with his...
By clicking sign up, you confirm that you accept this site's terms of use and privacy policy. About the editor.
Where am I right now? Let me turn
Mrigakshi Dixit. Mrigakshi is a science journalist who enjoys writing about space exploration, biology, and technological innovations. Her work has been featured in well-known publications including Nature India, Supercluster, The Weather Channel, and Astronomy magazine. If you have pitches in mind, please do not hesitate to email her.
All right, there we go. That's up. That's well, it's you and me right now. Bill had jumped on, but he was having some problems with his ability to hear. Yeah, I was hearing him, but he couldn't hear me. Say again?
Looks like you're at home.
Actually,
Looks like you're at home.
Yeah, actually, I'm in Phoenix. This will be one of the last times I've made a trip to Phoenix to work for this organization. Oh, hey, but I guess I should say, since it's 10 o'clock, I already hit the YouTube streaming button, and so we're online already. This is Scott Stimson with International Computer Solutions, and this is the San Carlos Computer Club, and Bill was with me for just a brief moment. I'm sure he's coming back, and Chester has joined me now. Well, Chester, you have the floor. I'll be happy to answer any questions you might have. Have you showed up with any nothing special? Well,
no.
I do have a couple of things here. We've that I'm just going to reiterate because we're just waiting for other people to join us. But the document of possible topics, I have added to it that I am in Phoenix. That's why we're doing a virtual meeting instead of an in-person meeting. I'll be back next week so we can do an in-person meeting in Tequilas next Tuesday. This is the 6th meeting of the 2024-25 club season. And this document also lists out the a link to the Digital Bill of Rights, which is just kind of gone stagnant at the moment. I would hope that more people were interested in it, and I'll keep mentioning it. But it's has not been. Nobody's sent me any comments or anything to this document yet. So, or at least to this latest version, it hasn't been updated since September 4th, and I haven't heard any new updates from my own representative in Alaska. So I'm not sure what's going on as far as that goes. I also stuck in this rundown just a quick self promo. I'll keep doing this every week. We've started taking bookings in Anchorage for this summer through Anchorage Walkabout Town Bed and Breakfast, and that 2025 summer season, we automatically give a 10% San Carlos Friends discount. So if we do know you from San Carlos, Sonora, Mexico, just make sure we know, and we'll give you a 10% discount on your stay with us. I really hope that we would have more with us, except for you and me, Chester, but I am looking into doing another Smartphones for Dummies seminar there in San Carlos, probably after the first of the year. Yeah, I would be interested in anybody's experiences with their phones. In this day and age, the last seminar I did was 4 years ago. It was before COVID. And I invite you to take a look at that presentation. I put a link here in our document. I'm going to leave this for the near future so that people will be able to find it in each one of the documents. But now I'm interested in what is new in 2024 that people would like help with their smartphones. And so at any time, anybody is welcome to give me any ideas for that future seminar that I want to put together.
Well, I would have one subject for you.
Oh, yeah? Go right ahead, Chester.
And it's a problem that I currently have. And I get, I have an area code 303, which is Denver. And of course, all of my grandchildren live in the area as well. But daily, I get up to 30 calls from the area code 303. And most of them don't answer, but some that do answer are foreign, and they're having nothing to do with interest that they're all dead calls as far as I'm concerned. I see Bill's back.
All right.
I know I could set up my phone so that if you aren't on my contact list, then I don't get your call. But I don't want to do that because sometimes I get a call from the doctor or from the, somebody that I do want to talk to. And so I just keep deleting these. And day before yesterday, I had 30 such calls. Yesterday, I had 22. And it's dropped off a bit this morning, but
22 calls from the 303 area code?
Yes, but how about 30? Day before yesterday was 30.
And they're all different phone numbers, but the same area code.
I'm sure there's some of the same numbers, but I haven't compared the numbers, but they do look like they're all different numbers, but all with the same area code.
Do you know anybody from that area code?
Yes, I lived in that area for 12 years before St. Carlos.
I guess my question is, what if, and I don't know if this is possible, but I'll definitely look into it. What if you could block just the area code? Would that be helpful?
I wouldn't want to, I guess I could do that, yes, because all of my people that I want to talk to from that area are on my contact list.
Okay.
Anyone else from that area, I probably wouldn't want to talk to.
I don't know if Bill Sid's just joined us as well this morning. We're talking about Chester's he's receiving calls like Democrats are asking him for money. He's got 30 calls coming in a day, all from the same area code. And our thought is that maybe he can block the area code. I don't know if either of you guys have heard anything about being able to block an entire area code with your phone. If not, I will put it on my list here to see if this is a potential thing to do.
It's something I offered as a possible subject for your lecture.
No, that's great. It's a perfect thing to add. For those of you joining us now, what Chester and I were talking about is I'd gone through the rundown of our document of possible topics, and one of the things I've stuck on it is that I'm interested in doing another Smartphones for Dummies seminar here in San Carlos in their lecture series, probably after the first of the year. And I'm looking for 2024 topics. The last Smartphones for Dummies seminar I did, there's a video of it out there on the internet. I put a link here in our document. You can check it out, but it was 4 or 5 years ago, and it seems like a follow-up. This is a good time for a follow-up, and I'm collecting any ideas for topics that would make sense in another seminar like this, an updated version. I'm sorry, Judy, I think I am coming through your speakers. Good morning.
I just logged on. Give me a moment.
Welcome, Cheryl. Good to see you guys.
Hi, I just came in as you were talking about doing a seminar.
Yes, I'll reiterate again. We were all by ourselves. It was just Chester and me while Bill was messing around with his sound issues. But I'm interested in doing an updated Smartphones for Dummies seminar. I did one about 4 or 5 years ago, before COVID. And I've got that online. You can click on the link that I've put here in our document and follow that up. But that was like almost 5 years ago. And I feel like we should do an updated version of this. And so what I'm asking for are your phone topics, the things that you're interested in having answers to, or battles that you've had recently that you feel like would help, it would contribute to other people's knowledge. And Chester was just suggesting a problem that he was having where he's getting 30 calls a day from a particular area code, different phone numbers, but different the same area code. And one of the things I was suggesting that might solve his problem, and I don't know if this is possible, but I'll look into it, is can you block an entire area code? I know in the past we'd been able to block entire country codes. And so being able to block a partial phone number would be an interesting thing to look into. I would hope that if it's not something you can do in the default operating system, that it would be something.
We get a lot of.
Go ahead, Cheryl. If you're talking, I'm not hearing you anymore.
Yeah, all of our spam calls, all of our, oh, really? I turned my microphone off. Can you hear me now?
I could hear you before.
I can hear you now.
Okay.
Maybe it might be me.
Okay, so what I was saying was every single call that we get that's a prank call and all that kind of stuff is from the area code of our phone.
Well, that's not helpful, is it? You wouldn't want to turn off that area code.
That's a word. Anyways, so it's either 702, which is, yeah, right. Well, that's our phone is from Las Vegas. So it's 702 numbers that have our phoning other 702 numbers. And it's things like get your furnace cleaned and all that kind of stuff. And we don't own anything in that area. So Yeah, but I do have other things that I would like to hear from in 702. So that blocking the whole area code is an issue for me. The other thing is I get them from my local area. Like it looks like it's a call coming from the same area that I'm in. If I'm in Edmonton, it's an Edmonton area code.
Gotcha. And Chester would suffer that same problem if it was blocked, except what the solution would be that the people he wants to hear from in that area code he's already got in his contact list. So the solution would have to not block those in his contact list. It would only be random phone numbers from the area code that aren't accounted for in the contact list. And again, I don't know if this is possible, but I'm going to look into it and see if we can do such a thing. Yeah, Judy.
So I've got AT&T, and it comes across as a possible spam. And if you let it ring 4 times, mine drops off because it's possible scam. Spam, not scam.
Spam.
Well, scam and spam,
Yeah.
same thing.
I would say it's most definitely spam. If it's AT&T.
Yeah, and scam.
And scam,
No,
right?
I mean, it rings through. I have AT&T. Any phone number rings through, and it rings 4 times. If it drops off, when you look at it, it says possible spam. So they are automatically screening my calls for spam.
Yeah, well, Apple does that, right? If it's been, when you're using, you can report phone numbers, you can block phone numbers, and
Right.
that information is shared with a database that Apple has to help them identify phone numbers and give you some, what would you say, some
But I
kind of
don't
indication.
have an Apple phone number. I don't have an Apple phone account. I have an AT&T phone account.
Oh, right. But you have an Apple phone, so you get to take
Yes, I
advantage
do.
of all that
But
technology.
I block, when mine are blocked, it's blocked through AT&T, not through Apple.
I'm not sure exactly what that means. When you block a phone number.
Okay, so I just got a call and I went in, a call, not a text, not an
Sure,
anything. I
sure.
went in and I said, block this number. That's an AT&T block.
So you go to an AT&T website to do that?
No, I use my phone.
Okay, so when you do that, you have added that to a block list that Apple maintains.
I don't know, maybe.
Okay, well, now you know. And that information gets shared with all these Apple customers so that it helps identify these calls. It's very similar to the way that antivirus shares information from first infections that are found. So that
Now, I can understand it being an Apple thing when I'm blocking messages. I don't understand it being an Apple thing when I'm blocking phone calls.
well, it's because the
I guess.
Yeah, it's just that information is reported back to the Apple system. I don't know how to, but you know what? Let me add this to this list of possible topics because it would be nice to have an intelligent description of what's going on. If you go
How
into
many
your,
can you block?
I haven't reached the limit, but if you go into your Apple phone, you can see the list of phone numbers that have been blocked. Let me see if I can bring, I've seen it before. I haven't looked at it in a long time. Blocked.
I have blocked phone numbers back to when I first got my AT&T account, which was back in, I don't know, like 2000 maybe, or 2005.
I think I'm gonna write these down as suggestions from Judy and Chester. Blocking calls. Who's this with? With the carrier or Apple or Google or all. And Judy, you had just said something that sounded like another. No, Chester just said something that said, oh, how many? That's right. How many calls can be blocked, or how many numbers can be blocked? Because I just looked at my blocked numbers list, and it's huge. It doesn't look like there's any end to the numbers. And I suspect that, and I don't know, but I can find out. I suspect that the way it works, a call comes into your iPhone, it goes to the block call list, it looks through it, sees if it can look it up. If it can look it up, it blocks the call. And so you don't get bothered by it. Can be blocked. And there are numbers that you can't block from my own personal experience. I block Telcel's promotional. I think, Judy, you had said that your AT&T comes in as and marks it as potential spam. With the Telcel calls, I have a number of times blocked it, both as messaging and for phone numbers, and they still come in. And they also do another thing that's very insidious, is they have hundreds of numbers that their promotions come through. So there are a number of numbers that I can block, but it doesn't matter because they'll call me back on another number. And one of the most embarrassing things that's got to be for Telcel is when I sit down to check my voicemail messages, because I've let them all go to voicemail message. And I have had times where I've had 6 voicemail messages, and each one of them is the exact same recording trying to promote some Telcel service that I'm not already signed up for. And I know they all came through different phone numbers because I block every phone number. But then I have certain numbers that I've put in my contact list that I have blocked, and I label them as Telcel, and I have them blocked. They're on the blocked list, and those calls still come through. Those text messages always still come through. How many numbers can be blocked? Great. And you guys are welcome.
Area code.
Say that again, Chester?
Can you block area codes?
Yeah, I've put that one down here. Area codes. Block. Whole area code. Yeah, that's a good question. And how is blocking being done? And there is still a registry that is a no-call list that exists in the United States. And I have it on great authority that it does not work anymore, but that if you're on the list, you can threaten legal action. You can report them because you're on the list, and at least there's some case being built against them. But I think the no-call list deserves a re-explanation and exploration of what kinds of rights it actually gives you in the United States. What rights? And how you can follow up when you're being violated. I think the no-call list is a great idea because you're proactively telling companies to stop bothering you, and they're continuing to bother you. And it could be that that you can threaten legal action. This is the way I understand it. If you're on the list, even if they're still bothering you, you can threaten legal action. And I suspect, but I'll find out from the stories I've heard, there are services online that will allow you to threaten them with legal action for free. And then if it doesn't stop, the case is being built. And of course, that website that's letting you do it for free would be building a case where they could do a class action or something against the organization. But I'll look into all that because I think that'd be very interesting for this topic. Well, it's Chester, Bill, Sid, Judy, Cheryl, and myself here, the San Carlos Computer Club, meeting virtually. Yes, Bill. Oh, you've got echo. You got a feedback loop like no tomorrow.
That better?
Absolutely. My ears aren't ringing any longer.
I just have to express my disappointment,
Go on.
extreme disappointment, that for the whole winter or the whole summer that we've been attending virtual computer club and been looking forward to our first chance to be at Tequilas. And this is the first Tuesday we've been here, all ready to go to Tequilas. And what do we get? We get Scott in Phoenix. No, we love you, Scott, but not that much.
Well, you know, you were welcome to go to Tequilas.
Yeah, I'd sit there all by myself.
Eating
Actually,
tortillas.
that was kind of the snarky reply I got.
That's what I told Judy. You can go to Tequilas.
And it was quite, it was just a titch snarky.
Oh, I was trying really hard to be very snarky, so I'll have to try harder next time.
Yeah, you should.
No, there isn't much I can do except for this is probably one of the last trips up here. So we will be having more regular in-person meetings after this Tuesday. After today.
But Judy, I think we should go to Tequilas and just put it on Scott's tab. Tell him he's paid for it.
Actually, I have been to meetings at Tequilas since I've been back, and the service is kind of iffy.
Well, Jonathan's back. You weren't at our last meeting.
Oh, is he?
Jonathan's back.
Good.
And we got our space squared away. We're back where we're supposed to be. The
That's a good
TV
thing.
is updated. The TV that we've used before has been replaced with one. And Jonathan told me it's his TV, so there's no problems with us using it. And I've connected a wireless Miracast device to it. So we don't have to run a cable up to it any longer. I can just connect to it as a wireless display. The last meeting we had in Tequilas, I was by myself. So if you're in San Carlos, come to the meeting. So I'm not sitting there by myself. And we had an audio problem that I didn't realize was going on until after the meeting. And so the recording that I got was horrible. The recording that what went out on YouTube was horrible. But the meeting that we held a virtual meeting, all that sounded just fine. So I'm going to have to debug that when I'm back in town. But I think we're all set and ready to. So normally we start the first Tuesday of October. This time we're starting the last Tuesday of October with a successful meeting of the minds from the San Carlos Computer Club in Tequilas.
Actually, Scott, this is November.
November, that's what I mean. I'm sorry, that's what I meant to say. November, the end of November.
I was going to say, talking past tense or future tense here. But anyways, meeting of minds is a very, I think it's even copyrighted by the parrot heads. So, and now they've even gone to meetings of the mindless. So we have to come up with something different. So.
All right. Well, I'm going to put that responsibility on you, Cheryl. Next week, you have to come back with a better phrase.
Well, we have something about techies in it. So
I agree. With that in mind, I did bring a couple of my own topics, but I'm happy to talk about anybody else's topics at this point. Is anybody out there having a problem they're trying to solve? Anybody bought a new phone? Anybody using new technology or considering new technology for the holiday season? You know, one of the topics that I didn't put on this list, but I think is valid, is if we start getting hit with tariffs, this technology is going to start getting more expensive very quickly. And I've already been listening to tech journalists talking about businesses that are stocking up their inventory computers so that they don't get hit with a higher cost down the line. I don't know if any of you have thought about that, if this is the moment to buy your new tech, in concern that it might be more expensive very shortly within the next couple of months.
Call me Friday afternoon. That's what I'm thinking of getting my phone.
Oh, all right. I'm imagining you're getting the iPhone 16 Pro. Is that right?
Yep.
All right.
Yeah, that's the one I'm going for.
Are you going for I don't even know what they call it now, the big one?
Max.
The Max,
No.
that's right.
No.
It's a Pro Max.
No, I'm just getting the Pro. I'm not getting the Max. That's too big.
It's a tablet in itself.
Yeah, that's something that's killed me. People that got phones phones.
I'm sorry, Sid. Maybe everybody else heard you, but you broke up on me. I think it's my end. Would you say that again?
Oh no, I dropped the phone.
Oh, well, there you go.
No, the plan is Friday when I'm telecommuting. I'm gonna run over to the iPhone store and buy a phone.
So do you know what capacity you're going to get?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the 256 gig phone.
All right.
Because right now I'm pushing full, and I got the one down from that. 128. It's I figure I might as well have some more space. But then I went ahead and removed 4 years of project photos from my phone. And all of a sudden I've got all this room.
Well, the new 16 has that 40 megapixel sensor on it. And the more storage space you have in the phone, the better chance you'll be able to take advantage of whatever the highest qualities are available to you. So doubling your capacity is probably a smart way to be thinking about it. I recently went ahead and subscribed. My gosh, I've become a subscriber. We haven't actually talked about this, but over the last month, I have subscribed to Microsoft, and I've also got iCloud. When BB went to France, I sent her with a Macintosh, and I didn't want her to worry about backing it up, so I went ahead and got the 2 terabyte plan. And then this month, you was like, I need Office. So I bought the family plan for, this is the one that gives you 6 accounts. So you buy it for yourself, and then you can invite 6 email addresses to set themselves up off of your account. We've talked about this in the past, but if you're not remembering what I'm talking about, any one of those people invited to your plan, this is called the family plan. You can buy it yearly for $100 a year. It gives you a terabyte of space for each account. And what that translates to is 6 accounts, 6 terabytes. You cannot easily manage you can't accommodate, you can't accumulate all 6 terabytes under one account. They have to be separate accounts, and there are some schemes for taking advantage of that as a block, but there's nothing straightforward and simple for that. So I think it's better to just tell people that it's one account is a terabyte of space, and you have access to the full Office package, and you can download it to your computer. So these aren't the online apps, but these are the Windows desktop client apps that are available. These are things like Publisher and Word, Excel, and PowerPoint, Access. Those items are all available to you through that subscription. And of course, the terabyte of space. So I've bought in now, And with the iPhone, I went ahead and started using the backup for space. Immediately, my phone was no longer full. It was half full because it was able to move a bunch of photos and things over to the iCloud space. I've kind of done the same thing on my laptop and came across an issue this morning because the program that I use to record these meetings and to broadcast out to you was pointing to a file that was sitting with a link to a file that is in physically a different location now that I've switched over to Microsoft's cloud. And it was reminiscent to me. It reminded me of Chester's frustrations when he had switched over to cloud for that brief moment. And fortunately, it's the only problem I have found so far. And really, it just required me to go into my software and go, no, it's pointing here now, because it was still there. It's just the software didn't think it was still there. And resolved that this morning, actually. So yeah, so if you have any questions about subscription services, I either have the answer or I will have the answer shortly because I'm dealing with both iCloud and Microsoft. And that brings up another good question to add to the future smartphones for dummies too, is using your subscription services, your cloud services for backing up photos and documents from your mobile. Using services. For example, I have not used it myself, but OneDrive always offers to back up your photos, whether you're on an Android device or on a Apple. Yeah, Cheryl, I see your hand up.
Okay, OneDrive is Microsoft. Is
Yep.
it not Google? Well, excuse French. No, sorry. Google, OneDrive, Google Photos, G Drive is so messed up that they keep the story. If I do anything in that platform, Bill sent me a link to a photo. Instead of doing it in our Apple or in our Amazon, came in Google. And all of a sudden, I've got your storage is 100% full. You will not receive any more mail until you delete or buy more space. And I'm not buying anything more from them. I already pay for Apple, I already pay for Amazon. And it's so hard. As soon as anybody sends me anything from Google, I'm back to, I have to delete every single one of the documents.
Yeah, or they're sending it to your Gmail, right?
They're sending it to my Gmail, yes.
Yeah, and so it's because your Gmail, your G Drive, your photos, they're all part of the same storage.
And OneDrive.
OneDrive is not part of the same storage.
It isn't?
No, it's not. OneDrive is Microsoft, and so that's completely different cloud storage. And so that, you could, if you're paying for OneDrive, you could use OneDrive to back up your photos, and you could pull off the backup of your photos from your G Drive, from your Google Photos. That would alleviate some of that weight in your Google account.
Wait a minute. OneDrive has a base amount that's free and then a paid, the same as Google has?
They do, but it's not any bigger. It's like 5 gigabytes.
The 1 terabyte of OneDrive comes with your subscription of 365.
That's right.
Office 365,
So if
and
you're
which is a very, very good set of I use that almost daily. But I do not use OneDrive because of the horrendous problems I've had with it. I back up on external hard drives, and I don't think I will ever use OneDrive again.
because of that experience you had a few years ago.
Yeah, it's just terrible.
Yeah. Well, and I've had great experiences you relying on OneDrive. I think I've shared with you the stories of how my father's used it for his work, and it's been just incredibly beneficial because he's so hard on computers. He could possibly be buying a new computer tomorrow, and just being able to sign in with his Microsoft account and have everything come back to it has been just a lifesaver. He doesn't have to worry about backing up. The terabyte is an incredible amount of space, Cheryl. If you are a 365 subscriber, then you could tell your OneDrive to be your photo backup, and you could stop using Google Photos to back up your photos, and you could eliminate all those photos off of Google Photos, and that would free up your space.
I have done that. I don't use Google Photos. Other people do, and they send me links to things.
Well, when they send you links, when somebody shares a photo with you, whether it's Microsoft, iCloud, or Google, you don't accumulate that space unless you save it for yourself. You are looking at a photo out of their space.
And what I try to do is save it to my iCloud terabyte. So I try to save it to my either my laptop or my iPad or my phone into Photos, into Apple Photos, and then the message, and I still get numerous messages from Google.
Well, I think maybe you're bringing other things into this. As far as the Google stuff goes, you shouldn't. If you're saving it to your photo roll on your camera, then that should be what's syncing to your iCloud, and
Right.
it shouldn't have any effect on your Google space. The Google spaces would be like now, maybe you've got Google Photos still installed. If you've got Google Photos still installed and set up to sync, then when you save that to your photo roll, then it would be one more thing for Google to put up in the cloud.
Okay,
And
so
that would affect your storage space.
okay, I don't have Google Photos on either of my phone or my iPad.
Okay.
But when I go to my photos, like where will I make sure that what my photos is only saving to iPhoto, like to Apple?
Right. If you've got an iCloud account and you're set up to sync your photos to iCloud, then whatever photos you save onto your phone are automatically being synced up into iCloud.
Back to that, if you've got your photo set up to sync to your iCloud, where do I do that?
Oh, that would be in your settings. If you go into
of the iCloud
of the phone, and you would go into it would be iCloud settings, but they're in your phone. If you go into at the top of your settings, it has your iCloud account. So you would go in there, and then you are going into iCloud. It should show you your terabyte of space.
2 terabyte. Got it.
And then there should be save to. I'm sorry, I'm being vague because do you have the latest operating system? Because it looks different under 18.1 than it did under 17. But it's under 18.1, it's got a screen here that says saved to iCloud, and photos, drive, passwords, notes, message, and mail are all listed there. And then there's an option to see all. And if you hit see all, it's much more familiar. It looks much more similar to the way it originally did in 17, where it lists all the apps that are saving to your iCloud. But iCloud Photos should be right at the top. And it just needs to
Okay.
be turned on.
Apps using iCloud. Photos is turned on.
Okay.
iCloud Drive is turned on. iCloud Mail is turned on. Passwords and keychain.
Yep. And
And
so if you go into iCloud Photos, you should see a switch that says sync this phone, and it should be on. Under that, it should show managed storage, and it should give you an amount of space that's being
now I'm
used.
going
And
to Photos, did you say? Or still in my Apple iCloud?
you're still in settings.
I'm still in settings for the iCloud.
Yeah, that's right. Where you see photos, if you hit photos, then it'll
Yes.
give you all the details. This is what it looks like, Cheryl.
Sync this iPad, manage storage, got it. In
Yeah.
iCloud, any photos, sync 12 minutes ago, and optimize iPad storage is on.
Yep. So what that's doing is anytime you take a photo, it ends up in your photo roll. Eventually it gets synced over to iCloud. As you're hurting for space, the older stuff that hasn't been accessed will be left in iCloud. But when you go to your Photos program, it's going to show you thumbnails from those photos, so long as you're connected to the internet. And then if you wanted to look at one of those older photos, then at that moment, you would have a slight delay as it downloads it out of the cloud and puts it into your photo roll so you can view it on your device.
Okay.
And then, so aside from that, that's all Apple stuff. Aside from that, if you install Google Photos, the Google Photo app gives you settings so that you can synchronize to Google Photos. If you don't turn those off, then it will continue to sync every new photo on your phone over to Google Photos. This would be frustrating if you didn't purchase any space from Google, because eventually it would just fill up your Google Photos space. And so if you're already dealing with that, you've already removed the Google Photos app, so that shouldn't be happening. And another option for you is you could use Microsoft's OneDrive, which gives you the option to back up all of the photos in your photo roll to the OneDrive in that 1 terabyte of space. Oh, I think Paul's trying to get into our call. Hold on a second.
We have 10 minutes left.
Okay. Paul is using companion mode. Okay. I don't know if he's able to see us or hear us or not.
Mine told me to do that this morning too.
That's really weird.
I don't know what it was, but
Companion mode is if you want to present as well as be in the group. It's something Google added so that, like, if for some reason you needed to have 2 different sessions going, then you could have one session that's completely for presenting and the other session's for chatting.
yeah, I've seen that. I've signed up for a couple of things, and there's thousands of people in them, and like 4 or 5 people will be part of the presenting group, and they're the only ones that we see. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Because now I've got a big sign up in the middle of my screen. People are using companion mode. To find who's using companion mode, go to the people list. Go away. There you go.
Yeah, so I don't know if Paul's actually able to hear us like this. He's not connected to participate, though, in this mode.
Oh.
Unless he's going to share something with us. Okay, well, hopefully he's getting something out of this. Or he'll try connecting again, I bet. Well, and like you said, we've got less than 10 minutes before we need to switch meets. We got 8 minutes left. So we'll be working our way over to that meet shortly. Please help me
Just
not
back
to
to
forget.
something.
Yeah, go ahead.
I just checked my about in my general settings, and I'm using iPad OS version 17.6.1, but I don't have a software update. Automatic updates are on, and it doesn't say that anything else is available, like upgrade to iPad 18. Are you saying that?
Maybe they have not released one for your iPad yet. Do you, in your about, it should
It
give
says
you a model number. What's your model number?
Okay, just a minute. This update provides the important security links. 17.7.1, I can update now or tonight. And then it says also available, upgrade to OS 18.
Oh, yeah, you found it. There you go.
So, but why, when I have automatic updates on, hasn't it been doing it?
Well, that's a good question. Maybe it's just missing the opportunity to do it. Updates happen typically when a device is idle and plugged in.
Yeah, it is every night.
Yeah, that is odd that it wouldn't be doing automatic updates. Did you go into automatic updates and make sure that the iOS updates is, maybe it's only the security updates that have been turned on?
Automatic updates on. When I go to it, it says updates, security, on, and updates on.
What about iOS updates?
Yep, it's on.
That's on too. No, that's very strange. You would expect it to have already updated itself.
Okay, but we're fine with doing it, and I'm going to set it to do it tonight.
Okay.
Okay. Everybody agrees?
Hey, I'm not pushing 18.1 either. I'm not. That's not. I went ahead and did it because I had some customers that were doing it, and I wanted to know the experience they're having. But I think either last week or the week before, I was telling you that I had. In fact, maybe I didn't get a chance to go into detail, but when I was talking about my problems, I had left you guys hanging with, I may have to factory reset this phone to get it working correctly. After the update, this phone, I had two experiences where I had stuck it on a wireless charger in the evening. That's what I do every night, so it'll charge over the evening. And I woke up to a half full battery and a hot phone. And a message saying it will resume charging when it cools down. And this is an iPhone 11 Pro that I upgraded to the 18.1 version of iOS. And what I discovered is that if you go into battery, it had a message there saying something to the extent, I don't see it now, it's gone now. I took a picture of it, but I'm not going to go digging for it. But it's something to the extent of operations are still happening on your phone until they're optimized. You may see different behavior from your battery and from the temperature of the phone. You might see basically it implied, I can't remember the wording, but it was inferring, it implied to me, I was inferring that the battery may drain quicker and the phone may run hotter than I expect it to. Now that message I tracked, I went back because I continue, this is after the update. I went back to after I found this message, I went back to it a half a dozen times over the next few days. And I watched as the message did not go away. I watched as I continued to have hot phone issues. And I reported them to you guys, saying that if this doesn't get resolved by the weekend, I'm probably going to back up the phone and format it flash it back to factory settings, and then restore the backup. Now, within that time period, within those couple of days, everything mellowed out. The heat stuff went away. The battery message saying that it was optimizing, that optimizing message stuck around for like 5 days, which makes me feel, I haven't seen anything to verify this, but it makes me feel like Apple did something to their file structure, something with encryption, something that is time consuming and processor intensive, something that is only part of 18 and higher and was not part of 17. And so everything had to move from the old style to the new style. And I think it's encryption. I think it has to do with the way it was laying out files on its storage space and encryption. I can't think of anything else that would behave like that. Yeah, Judy. You have your hand up?
And I kind of think it's because you have an 11.
Well,
I think it's because you have an 11.
Yeah, no, I think that it's noticeable on older equipment. I think if you have newer equipment, all that extra processing power, you're not feeling these problems. But on the older equipment, you are. And we got 2 minutes.
And I have 18.1 and have not had problems, Cheryl. I updated to 18.1 and do not have problems.
Good.
And my problems went away. I mean, that's what I'm reporting is after a number of days, that message went away. The heat problem went away. The battery draining problem went away. But for the first 5 days after the update, I was watching this experience that people have reported online that I'd never actually suffered from before. And yeah, I think it's very much that way. Okay, I'm opening up the other meet right now. So I will meet you guys over there because this call is disappearing. Okay. Oh, finally. There we go. Paul is in companion mode and no one else is. Oh, this call is ending. This is the wrong call. No wonder nobody's popping in. Sorry about that. I need to buy a new computer.
I ate breakfast at Tequilas this morning.
All right. I'm sorry nobody was there, Paul. We'll be there next week. I promise.
Okie dokie.
I'm just sharing our location right now. This is I'm sitting on our deck.
That's in Canada?
Yeah, we have palm trees in Canada. Actually, I'm looking across to Tequilas from Bahia Delfine.
Oh, okay.
And Bill is dreaming of chilaquiles.
Yes, and we should have known you were going to be there, Paul and Judy. We should have gone, but next week for sure.
Next week for sure, definitely.
I had chilaquiles rojo con pollo.
All right, not fair making people hungry.
I want you to stop that, Paul.
Que delicioso.
Oh, get stuffed.
All right, so where were we before we were rudely interrupted with a meeting canceling? Oh, the battery thing. So, yes, the other reason I wanted to install it on my device. Oh, and Judy, I just to address your comments. You've had no problems. You have a very modern iPhone. Cheryl's talking about updating the iPad, depending on what year it is, and the fact that it's an iPad means that she could have a completely different experience, just like my older iPhone had a completely different experience than you did. So it's more than the software, it's the hardware it's going on.
Right. I do have a new iPad, to clarify, and I had no problems doing the 18.1 on my iPad.
I was really surprised to have such dramatic problems. I mean, I was ready for them. I knew that something goofy was probably going to happen. I had another phone. I had a 14 come into my office because he had not taken any precautions to back it up or do anything. He just hit the update button, and next thing you know, it is frozen. And it's the most frozen phone I have ever seen. It is on the gray Apple with a bite out of it and a progression bar that's stuck in the middle. It will not shut off. You know, they're like, oh, just hold the power button down. It's, well, I'm a tech. I know exactly how to do that. Until it turns off, it never turns off. You hold the power button, it never turns off. Minutes later, it's still not turned off. It runs until the battery dies. You plug it in to power, it charges up enough to go right back to the Apple screen with a progression bar stuck in the middle. In fact, it was sent over to me by my brother-in-law. You know, my brother-in-law, Benny, he does cell phone repairs. And his customers, he sent him over to me. He's like, it's not a hardware problem. It's a software problem. You need to take it to Scott. And I plug it into a Macintosh and have to use well, actually, I probably described this before, but on the Macintosh, the latest operating system versions don't use iTunes to administer your phone or your iPod or your iPad. They use the file system, the Finder file system. Unlike if I had plugged it into a Windows computer, I would have had to have used iTunes to work on this phone. What was miraculous, because I couldn't get it in a access mode. There's a mode on your iPhones, well, and on your Android phones, through a series of connection, button pushing and connecting, that put it in this what would you call it? A restore mode is what you would call it. And it creates, on the iPhone, it creates a cable diagram and a little instruction for connecting it to iTunes or to a Macintosh with its file system to do a restore, to dump software from one device over into the other device. And you normally have to put the device in that mode, and I could not get it to go in that mode manually. But through some auto magic from the Macintosh, it was able to flip the bit that turned that mode on. And even more magically, it was able to upgrade, because these are the options that you're given when you have to do this. You can upgrade or you can restore the phone, which would also include an upgrade. And so I start with an upgrade on the slight possibility that I might be able to recover any of the data that's on it. And miraculously, it hadn't wiped any of the data that was on it. It was all still there after we got the phone back to working again. But it was that experience that made me think, okay, I've got to install this software and see what's happening. But I got to take all the precautions because I knew what I was doing. I made a backup of my phone beforehand, and I was ready. I had the time, and I was ready to be without the phone so that I could do the update. It did not wipe out anything. It did not freeze like this iPhone 14 had. It just went ahead and did the update, and then I had 5 days of overheating and not charging until it finally sorted itself out. And without having to format it back to factory settings, it's fine now. But the iPhone 11 Pro took 5 days before it had balanced everything out. Very strange. And that's with iOS 18.1. You know, one of the other things that came with 18.1 that has really annoyed law enforcement recently is that it will reboot itself now if you've gone a number of days without re-authenticating. So if you're familiar with your iPhone, if you have to restart it, you have to put in your PIN, and then after that, you can use your face to open up the phone. If you have a reason to turn off the phone and turn it back on, then you have to put in your PIN again. You have to re-authenticate on that phone. You can't use biometrics any longer. Apparently, with iOS 18.1, phones that are just sitting around, not being re-authenticated regularly, will reboot now. This was originally reported as a security feature. I'm not sure that makes sense to me. I haven't seen any writing on this, but if you just bear with my thinking, the reason that it's getting reported as a security feature is because police are reporting that phones they had sitting in stasis now require extra authentication because they've been automatically rebooted with the new operating system in it. I think this is a bit of a red herring. I think actually, I think that there's something wrong with this operating system. I think that the rebooting is intentional to maintain stability because there's something they're still trying to work out with this operating system. And the side effect is that when you reboot a phone, then you have to give it more security. We'll see what happens as we move on when 18.2 comes, and who knows, maybe 18.2 will come with some security features that controls rebooting. I don't know what to say in that respect, but it immediately was reported as a security update, but it was only reported to anyone because the police were complaining that these phones they had sitting somewhat authorized were now completely unauthorized because of this rebooting nature. I don't have those articles with me. What I have that I thought you guys would appreciate is an article about the cellular company in England, O2, maybe you've heard of it, using a virtual grandmother to call scammers time. Sorry, I forgot English for a moment. This is a fun article. You guys should read through it, but there's also a great video here that I'm not going to try and play on my computer because it's going to freeze our meeting. But this is an AI grandmother, and she is intended to maintain the call with the scammer group. The whole idea of her being on the line is to ask the questions that make tech people feel so inanely frustrated because she doesn't know what's going on. And if you watch this video, it's really fun because she has the cadence and the interest and the concern and the patience to perpetuate the call forward. So they keep helping her, what they want to do is they want to scam her for money, but they can't get that far because she's needing tech help all the way along. And it's wasting hours and hours of scammers' time. This has been built and implemented by this cell phone company. And the idea is that if scammers are busy dealing with their AI, they're not dealing with you. It's a whole numbers game. They're hoping to deploy these very often so that scammers are just wasting their time instead of trying to take advantage of you. It's like a honeypot. So watch the video, read through the article. This is a fun thing. This is a great way to use the LLMs, the AI. Listen to her dialogue because it just sounds so genuine that you could see a scammer going, well, I've almost got her on the hook. If I could just get her to figure out how to flip the switch on her phone or to give me the password. And in the video, there's some fun frustration from the scammer. You can hear the frustration in the same way you're talking to tech support, and tech support's, oh my God, come on, please. You can hear that on the other side of the line. They're dealing with it. And she's just being patient and asking her questions. So that was one of the articles I brought today. If you've ever gotten scammed or had a scammer on the phone, you'll know what that's all about. It'd be interesting to see if there's ever a fortification of scammer defeating AIs. Just a whole range of a call center, a virtual call center just dedicated to picking up these scam calls. I came with another article that I thought was relevant to all of us because of the things that we cover at times. And it's another article on sand batteries. And this is the latest one being developed in Finland. I'm just bringing it up right now. 100 megawatt sand battery turns 2,000 tons of fireplace waste into power. I'm not sure why they use the term fireplace waste, but I guess it's a Finnish thing. Apparently, they make fireplaces, lots of them in Finland, and they use a soapstone specifically because it can conduct heat so efficiently that they make really good fireplaces. And what this article is about, how this same stone that's being used for fireplaces is so thermally conductive that they want to use that for the sand battery. And so they are using the waste product from these fireplaces that have been built to fill their sand battery. And the idea is that here it is, 2,000 tons of crushed soapstone used. The idea is that this battery that they're creating should be powering their neighborhood. It's supposed to be in operation starting next year. They've already been building sand batteries, but this one is the first one I've heard of being using this soapstone material, and they expect the highest potential coming out of it. Where is it? In here they said something about how much. 1 megawatt of power and storing 100 megabytes of it. Yeah, the giant sand battery will be the main power source for I can't even say the name, Pornanin's district heating network. So they're going to use this one battery for heating power for that entire community. I've put on your screen a basic logical diagram of how this is working between solar and the battery and the industry or the housing that would be supported by this. It's interesting. I would not have thought that finding, like, the conductive material is great, and the fact that it's a waste byproduct is great. But I was surprised there is a link to a video in here that actually talks about us running out of sand. I didn't realize this was an issue. In fact, it prompts me to want to go do a little bit more research on this. But in the video, they talk about how our industrializing is what has taken up the majority of the useful sand used for concrete construction. And something about the sand, its shape needs to have these sharp kind of triangular corners on it so that it will work well in cement. And it talks about how they can't, and this is the sand that works the most efficiently is the sand that's created through wave motion. And so the idea of sand batteries becoming part of our technology as we go forward is just as reliant on the idea of sand being available for these constructions. And right now, there is this concern about how much usable sand is out there in our world, the most usable being the sand created by ocean currents, ocean tides. In contrast, we can't use, and I didn't know this until I was watching this video, that's one of the reasons I want to do a little bit more research. We can't use sand from the desert. Did anybody know that? That we can't use desert sand for construction. In this video, they were showing the Sierras. But the idea is that sand is created through wind blowing. And when wind creates the sand, it creates very smooth surface sand. And it's not ideal for construction. There's nothing for it to grip hold of. There's no traction in the sand. It's too smooth. I found all of that very fascinating. And if you find it fascinating, it's in this article, so you should check it out. We are coming to the end of, we've actually been going for a while now. It's like an hour and 40 minutes. We're coming to the end of the time I have available to me. I popped this up again just by accident, but if you haven't read our Digital Bill of Rights, please do. Please add some comments to it. If there's some things you think could be written better, or there's something that you feel like's been missed, please add it here somewhere. I've got 10, but I'm not married to 10. I'm just married to the idea of protecting individuals in this data world that we've got. And that's what the Digital Bill of Rights is all about. Everything that has been put out as legislation in the United States since the inception of the internet, since the inception of technology, has been pretty much to protect the ability to do business. We are now in need of protections for the individual in this digital world, and that's the idea of the Digital Bill of Rights, or the Bill of Digital Rights. And to come to an end in our meeting, we normally do some recommendations. I've stuck a couple on here, but I'll let anybody go first that has something to recommend. Are you reading, watching, using an application, using a website? Are you doing anything that you think should be shared with the rest of us? I put a show and a movie on here. I've also left interminably the information for how to get a tour in San Carlos for the new hospital. Somebody provided that to us a few weeks ago, and I've left it here. There's a phone number you can call. Juan would coordinate for you. And they do them on Saturdays, and so you can call and ask for a tour to go in on Saturday and take a look at the new hospital facilities. That's here under events, and I'm going to leave it. Cheryl, I'm sorry, you broke up on me at least. Can you say that again?
Okay. Yeah, I've talked to two different couples that have gone on that tour. The first one was the girl that shared it with us, Nancy, and Mike Gregory. And then another couple, Barb and Brian, they went last weekend, and they said it's really interesting. They were very impressed with the hospital, and it's a good tour. So I'm going to probably sign up for Saturday coming up.
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah, I'd like to go do it myself. I haven't had a chance yet. And there's a perpetual link that I've left under AI Teaches. I haven't come up with a new prompt that would be interesting, but this is how you can get Google's Gemini to delete the things that you're using it for. You can turn off its tracking, and it will stop storing your previous inquiries to the AI. Otherwise, your inquiries are being added to this AI. It's part of the contextual model that's being created. There is concerns about privacy, and this would limit it to the last 72 hours of data that's been fed to it. Whether you use it or not, I think you should know about it. It's one of the few places where I see you can turn off an AI from collecting. Up until this, it was really painful. You had to go to every one of your inquiries and delete each one individually. This isn't much better. I wouldn't mind having a select all. What this is this is a blanket, turn it off, and then it deletes everything except for the last 3 days. Or leave it on. But still, it's better than nothing, which is what we had before they had it. And then the two things that I've brought as recommendations is the show The Penguin. I don't know if you guys have been watching this. It's a real interesting take on Gotham, which you know from Batman. But Batman's not in it. There isn't any, or at least so far. We haven't finished it. It's first season. It's on HBO. It is following the underworld that was created in the latest Batman movie. And that movie definitely had Batman, and it definitely had supervillains in it. But this TV show is a mafia show. And the Penguin is like a soprano, like a Tony Soprano. And it is an intriguing drama that has no superheroes in it, at least not yet. No supervillains in it, at least not yet. And it's very well done. We ended up just binging through it, watching 3 episodes at a time. What are we at? I'm not even sure what we're at. Colin Farrell plays the Penguin. You can't recognize him. They've got him in makeup that changes his face, changes his hairline, and he's using a voice and a pattern of speech. If you started watching that, you wouldn't know it was him. You'd have no idea it was Colin Farrell playing this part. Really well done. Clancy Brown's also a favorite actor of mine from Sci-Fi, and he's in this as well. So that's an easy recommendation. Again, no superheroes in it, at least not yet. So if you get turned off by my superhero sci-fi recommendations, this is a mafia show. And a movie that I'm bringing is just recently been released on Prime, is My Old Ass, which is a fun movie. It is Audrey Plaza. You might recognize her from The Office. She's got a real quirky sense of humor, a little dark and deep. She's in that Agatha All Along, the Witches show. This is a more subtle movie. The main star is this younger actress here, and what Audrey's playing is her future self. And through silly doing drugs, some MacGuffin, she ends up meeting her younger self ends up meeting her older self. And it could turn into, like you start into this and it's like, oh my gosh, this is going to be some bizarre Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure kind of movie, but it's not. It's actually a very subtle, self-reflecting movie about subtle traumas, and really funny. A lot of laughing out loud. Yeah, a little bit of raunchy humor, but not a lot. But definitely, it doesn't get caught up in trying to explain why this is happening. There's a decent story in it, so it doesn't matter that it's happening. It doesn't matter that she's meeting somebody from like 2030 in 2025. How about Cheryl, Paul, Sid, Bill? You guys got anything you want to add?
I like on HBO Last Week Tonight.
Of course, yeah, that's awesome.
Every Sunday night it comes on and we tape it. But the guy is very funny, and he claims to not be solving any problems, just stirring up shit.
Yeah. I think that's been the hardest thing to get used to in this day of modern communication, networking, is that seems to be all that they can do. It doesn't change or fix anything. It just stirs up shit. I might be generalizing. I'm sure there's some instances out there where something has been stirred up and that's the reason it got changed. Well, guys, I've run out of topics. Anybody want to add anything? Or are we calling it to an end? Is this the end of this meeting? Yes, Cheryl.
I share one thing, Facebook Live, and then it's posted to YouTube channel the next day and stuff like that. Mark Mulligan does weekly shows. He started it in COVID, and he does a really nice production. Tonight's show is going to be filmed in San Carlos at the Pelican Beach condos, and he broadcasts it on Facebook Live, and then he also has it recorded, and then it's put on his YouTube channel, and it's a really nice production. You know, he's got some lights, and the sound is usually really, really good. Tonight's show is all 70s tunes, so it's not Mark Mulligan's songs, it's him doing hits from the 70s. So I'm just going to give a little ad for him.
I'll look for it, but if you happen to have the link to this stuff handy, would you pass it to me and I'll stick it in our document? Otherwise, I'll try and find it.
Sure. Yeah, he has 2 pages on Facebook. The one is his musician page, and that's the one that always does it. But
Okay.
yeah, he's got it linked to. So if you just go to Facebook and search Mark Mulligan,
I'll take a
basically you
look.
find
Yes.
it, and his show to 5 p.m. San Carlos or Arizona time.
Awesome. That's UTC -7. We do not recognize daylight savings in this time zone.
Smart people.
All right, guys. Well, that's the end of this. Thanks for showing up. We will be in person next week in Tequilas. So anybody that's in San Carlos, I hope to see you there. I don't know what else.
To be here?
What's that? Oh, my folks will be here too. In fact, that's part of my trip here now. I'm surprised they're not online right now, but I'm bringing them back to San Carlos for Thanksgiving. So they'll be with us next week.
Okay, looking forward to seeing them.
All right. All right, guys. Well, until next Tuesday, tech on. Adios, Paul. Adios, Sid. Okay. Well, there we go. We did it again. We did it virtually. Technically, it always comes off. The presentation comes off a little better when we do it virtually. It's actually in my office with the M1 Mac Mini is when it really works. That's the reason I've been pushing for getting a new laptop so I don't have to bring 3 of them in person. But until that happens, this is the way it goes. It's been good talking to you, and we will talk again at least by next Tuesday at 10. Everyone's invited and welcome to join us. Check out one of these websites over here, to help you find information on how to be part of the conversation. Till Tuesday, tech on.